A headless torso found in waters off Denmark has been identified as missing Swedish journalist Kim Wall, Danish police say. DNA from the torso matched that from Ms. Wall's hairbrush and toothbrush. Chief investigator Jens Moller Jensen said that the torso had been weighted down with metal in an apparent attempt to stop it floating. Ms. Wall was last seen alive on the 10th of August as she departed on a submarine trip with inventor Peter Madsen. The submarine sank hours after the search for Ms. Wall began, after her partner reported that she had not returned from the trip. Mr. Madsen, who designed and built the submarine, was charged with negligent manslaughter. He initially said he had dropped her off safely near Copenhagen, but has since said she died in an accident and that he had buried her at sea. Danish police believe the 40-ton submarine was deliberately sunk by Mr. Madsen. Traces of blood have been found inside the submarine, and they also match Ms. Wall. Their remains were found on a beach south of Copenhagen on Monday. Mr. Jensen would not comment on the cause of death but said forensic investigations were still being carried out and police were looking for the rest of her body as well as the metal attached to the torso. Mr. Jensen said the remains were mutilated in what appeared to be an attempt to ensure that decomposition gases passed out of the body, to make it less likely to float. Kim Wall's mother Ingrid wrote of the family's boundless sorrow at the news that her daughter's remains had been found. During the horrendous days since Kim disappeared, we have received countless examples of how loved and appreciated she was, as a person and as a friend, as well as a professional journalist, Ingrid Wall said in a family statement released on Facebook. From all corners of the world we have received testimony to how she was able to be a person who made a difference. Ms. Wall, 30, was reported missing by her boyfriend in the early hours of the 11th of August, after she failed to return from the trip on Peter Madsen's homemade submarine, the Nautilus. A freelance journalist who had written for The Guardian, New York Times, and South China Morning Post, she was researching a feature about the inventor and the Nautilus, which he built in 2008 with crowdfunding. Emergency services scoured the area of sea to the east of Copenhagen and the submarine was eventually spotted from a lighthouse south of the Øresund Bridge between Denmark and Sweden. Within 30 minutes the vessel had sunk and Mr. Madsen was rescued. For 10 days, the search for the journalist continued. A torso was found by a passing cyclist on a beach near Kobe on Monday. Police said the next day that the arms, legs and head had been deliberately cut off. They finally confirmed it was Kim Wall in a tweet early on Wednesday. Mr. Madsen's lawyer, Bettina Holdingmark, said the news that the torso was Ms. Wall did not change her client's position, that the journalist had died in an accident. Both she and her client were pleased that the remains had been found, she told Danish media. Peter Madsen pleaded not guilty in a closed-door judicial hearing earlier this month. Copenhagen police are re-examining old cases, as is standard in such investigations, Mr. Jensen said, including the death of a 22-year-old Japanese woman, whose torso was found in Copenhagen harbor in 1986. That case has never been solved.